In the beginning, two people, a guy and a girl, were together. The girl asked to see something, and the boy showed it to her. Mayumi's hair then began to float as she questioned what part of it was good. A staff member asked her to calm down, while the boy insisted that he thought it was really nice. The scene then shifted to earlier that afternoon. Some students were talking among themselves, asking if others had seen Mayumi just now, mentioning that even her side profile was terrifying. It was revealed that Mayumi Janome, from Class 5, had gained attention from everyone as she walked through the hallway. She noticed the other students whispering behind her back and looked at them, which caused them to freeze in fear. Mayumi wondered to herself if she had done something wrong. One of the students commented that those two completely froze up, while another said that the rumors might be true after all the rumor that anyone who looked into her eyes would turn to stone. They recalled that she used to be the head of a delinquent gang and that everyone once called her Medusa. Mayumi overheard them worrying that she might hear them. She thought to herself that the ex-delinquent rumors had spread even here. She had left all of that behind and only wanted to be a normal, sweet high school girl. She wondered where they had even heard about such things. She had chosen a school far from home for a fresh start, but it had all been pointless. So much for her dream of a peaceful, elegant high school life. As Mayumi continued walking, she noticed a guy down on his knees. Mayumi noticed that the guy on his knees was trying to collect papers that had fallen to the ground. It was revealed that he was Kei Kawahara from Class 1. Mayumi thought to herself that he was still as adorably clumsy as ever, remembering how he ran into people almost every day. She reflected that Kawahara was gentle, kind, and easy to like, while she, with her sharp eyes, was often avoided. She concluded that there was not a single thing they had in common. The scene then shifted, revealing that both Mayumi and Kawahara shared a secret promise. Inside Gentle Nyan Cafe, the two of them were seen enjoying a parfait together. The waiter brought their order, announcing that it was their custom blend tea, along with the Gentle Nyan Puffin parfait, and placed it on the table. Both Mayumi and Kawahara gazed at the parfait with excitement. Mayumi thought that it was ridiculously cute, while Kawahara remarked that they had really gone all out. With something that adorable, he felt that the day might actually go well. Mayumi then thought to herself, as always, Kawahara-kun, if you would. Kawahara agreed and said that they should eat. The scene showed Kawahara eating the parfait while Mayumi took his pictures, thinking to herself that he was good at it. Kawahara finished eating and thanked her for the meal before asking if it had helped. Mayumi responded by analyzing the pictures, realizing that the angle was what made them cute and that the screen placement might be worth copying. She noted that even the way Kawahara had stuffed his cheeks showed a certain boldness that could actually work. She then told him that it was his turn now, addressing him as Kawahara-san. Kawahara agreed and began taking pictures of Mayumi eating. The focus shifted to Mayumi's face, which soon turned disappointed after seeing the results. Kawahara tried to cheer her up, telling her not to be so down and pointing out that in one of the pictures, she had a sort of deathly aura. Mayumi realized that it was actually an insult and complained that this was supposed to be training, wondering why he was the one who looked so radiant instead. Kawahara replied that it was because she always managed to capture his best expressions. Mayumi then reminded herself that this was all training, so that one day she could wear a gentle smile just like his. Mayumi thought to herself that the reason they spent time together like this was so she could study Kawahara's face. After finishing, they cleared their table when the bell rang and left the cafe. Kawahara asked if she would mind him stopping by the restroom, and Mayumi told him that she would wait outside. While waiting, Mayumi reflected that the day had not gone well either and wondered if, at this rate, she could ever truly smile like him. Just then, she heard someone shouting for help. Looking ahead, she saw two guys bullying a girl. One of them accused the girl of bumping into him and questioned if that was all she had to say, while the girl apologized. The other guy mocked her, saying that a princess did not even know how to say sorry. The frightened girl called out for help. Mayumi recognized the scene as something straight out of a cliché and thought that it resembled a helpless maiden trope, but quickly corrected herself, realizing that it was simply awful and that she had to step in. She noted that Kawahara had not returned yet and decided to act, tying up her hair and hoping that he would stay away a little longer. One of the bullies continued saying that the girl owed him something, and at that moment, Mayumi shouted to get their attention, demanding to know if they were really picking on someone that small. She declared that she would take the girl's place instead. The small girl, frightened and confused, asked Mayumi who she was. Turning her head toward her, Mayumi told the girl that it was fine, and that she could go now. However, the small girl became terrified upon seeing Mayumi's face and quickly ran away, apologizing as she left. Mayumi thought to herself that the girl had run off and wondered if her face had really been that bad. The two guys who had been bullying the small child turned to Mayumi and demanded to know who had allowed her to let the girl go, mocking her by saying that she was not even worth scaring. Mayumi thought that no matter how many times she faced people like them, delinquents always freaked her out. It was revealed that Mayumi actually hated delinquents, but despite that, she could not stand by and watch someone get hurt. The two delinquents taunted her again, asking what she was staring at, when suddenly Kawahara appeared behind her. He asked if there was a problem with his friend, and then stepped forward, saying that if they had something to say, they should say it to him. The delinquents immediately grew scared, while Mayumi turned to face Kawahara. Kawahara apologized, asking if he had kept her waiting. Mayumi quickly replied that it was not at all the case and tried to warn him that the guys looked sketchy, asking him to step back. However, Kawahara pointed out that they had already run off. Surprised, Mayumi looked to see both of the delinquents fleeing, while Kawahara pointed at them, saying that there they went. Laughing lightly, he commented that they were fast and wondered why they had suddenly run away. Mayumi questioned why they would do that, and Kawahara simply replied that he had no clue, ending with a casual remark about what a day it had been. Kawahara told Mayumi that stuff like this happened and asked when she would usually tie her hair up. Mayumi responded, slightly flustered, that it was just because it was hot, though she thought to herself that she could not admit it was actually to switch into fight mode. Kawahara then told her that it looked good on her. Mayumi, surprised, thought that she had not even changed yet, but spending time like that with Kawahara made her feel like a normal girl. Later, a scene showed Mayumi arriving at her home. She told Kawahara that he did not have to walk her home every time, but he replied that it was dark out and that he would never let a girl walk home alone. He then wished her good night. Mayumi returned the greeting, thinking to herself that he said things like that so easily and treated her like a girl without even trying. When Mayumi entered her home, she announced that she was back, and a voice replied, welcoming her home. It turned out to be Mayumi herself talking to her plushie. She then grabbed the plushie from her bed and admitted that she had let her delinquent side show again that day. She told herself that she really had to do better and could not waste Kawahara's support. The scene then shifted to Kawahara leaving the train. He thought to himself that all he really knew, while simultaneously, Mayumi was thinking the same words, was that all she really knew was that he was a clumsy guy at school. She wondered why he did not fear her and treated her so normally, questioning the reason behind it. The scene then returned to Kawahara arriving home, where several guards bowed and greeted him, saying, "Welcome home, sir," and some addressed him as young master. Kawahara, clearly uncomfortable, told them they were being too dramatic and asked them to keep it down, calling it a nightmare. Everyone immediately complied. Someone from behind spoke up, saying that he could not blame them since the boss had left town and everyone had been on edge. Kawahara replied that his grandfather was gone, and the person informed him that the boss had said Kawahara would be in charge while he was away. Kawahara responded with a sarcastic "great," while the person praised him, saying he had really grown into the role and that it was expected of the next leader of the elementary division. Kawahara thought to himself that he had had fun during training that day and hoped he had actually been helpful to Mayumi-san. Back at Mayumi's place, she told herself that there was no time to mope and that she had to become a gentle, kind, and cute girl. Finally, both Mayumi and Kawahara were shown thinking the same thing. They could not wait for the next training session. Then the scene shifts, and we see the shopkeeper handing Mayumi a box and welcoming her while asking what her order would be. Mayumi orders the strawberry chocolate special crepe, and the shopkeeper responds that it will be prepared right away. Kawahara-kun then orders the tuna salad crepe, and the shopkeeper replies with a certainly. After a short while, the shopkeeper brings both of their orders to them, thanking them for waiting and handing over the crepes. Both Mayumi and Kawahara get excited, with Mayumi expressing her delight. The shopkeeper then gives them 2 goodies, explaining that it is a special gift for ordering with a friend. Mayumi thanks the shopkeeper warmly. It is then revealed that the shop is running a Let's Eat Crepe Together campaign, where customers who order with 2 or more people receive a gentle nyan strap. Mayumi becomes excited and says that this is exactly what she wanted. Kawahara reminds Mayumi not to forget about the crepe as well. Mayumi recalls that the strap brings back many memories and mentions that she used to have one and loved it but lost it somewhere along the way. Kawahara tells Mayumi to make sure not to lose it this time, and Mayumi promises that she will not. Mayumi then points and asks Kawahara which one he wants, telling him that he can pick. Kawahara, while thinking, wonders if it is really alright for him to take one. Mayumi assures him that of course it is, saying that she couldn't have gotten them without him, though she doubts he would be happy to receive it from her. Kawahara questions why not, and Mayumi repeats his words, before explaining that it is supposed to be something friends give each other. Kawahara becomes surprised, and asks if that means they are not friends. Mayumi, caught off guard, asks if they are friends. Kawahara replies that he thought of them that way, and asks if he was wrong. Mayumi begins to think to herself, questioning the idea of them being friends, and admitting inwardly that she was hoping they were something more. Kawahara then concludes that it is settled, and decides to take one of the straps, saying that he will take this one. He asks Mayumi if she is sure, and whether she does not want to give it to someone else. Mayumi responds by asking if he even hears himself, saying that if she had other friends, she would not be asking him to train her. Kawahara agrees, saying that is true. Mayumi adds that, for the record, she did have normal friends once upon a time. Kawahara acknowledges this, and Mayumi thinks that up until not too long ago, she did have younger girls who looked up to her. A flashback then shows several girls behind Mayumi, cheering and calling her big sis and boss lady. Mayumi then turns the question back to Kawahara and asks what about him, saying that perhaps she should be the one asking him that instead. Kawahara, with a puzzled expression, asks, me? Mayumi continues, saying that Kawahara has tons of friends at school, and asks why he always spends his time after school with her. Kawahara begins to think to himself, realizing the reason but not saying it aloud. His thoughts drift into a flashback where someone calls to him, saying, Kei, Dad's heading out, be a good boy today. Kawahara replies, okay, Dad. The scene then shifts to show other children nearby, saying that Kun has arrived and suggesting they play over there. They also comment among themselves that it is only his dad again, and mention that his mom is not around. The other children continue talking, saying that their mothers told them Kawahara's family is bad news and that they are not supposed to play with him. The scene then shifts to a classroom where a teacher introduces someone new, telling the students to settle down and announcing that starting that day, they have a new friend named Mayumi Guillaume. Mayumi, with a bright smile, greets everyone, saying it is nice to meet them. Kawahara thinks to himself that it is a new friend, but that it has nothing to do with him. The scene changes again, to show Mayumi beating someone up. She stands over the person, and says that she wins again, pointing out that their leader is too weak, then asks if there are any other boys around. She declares that from now on, she is the leader. When she notices Kawahara, she says that there is one more left. Another kid grabs her shirt to stop her and tells her to leave him alone, explaining that there are rumors about his family being involved in shady business, and that even though they supposedly quit, no one plays with him. Mayumi responds with an unconcerned, oh yeah? Then removes the kid's hand from her shirt and says she does not care. She approaches Kawahara and tells him to fight her, saying that if she beats everyone, she will be the leader. Kawahara replies that it does not matter to him, but Mayumi insists that she will beat everyone. Kawahara thinks to himself that he is included as one of everyone. Mayumi asks his name, and Kawahara answers that he is Kei Hayashi. Mayumi tells him that they will settle it tomorrow for real, calling him Kei-kun. Kei replies, calling her Mayumi-chan, and says, tomorrow again. That night, after school ends, Kei-kun is called by a teacher who tells him it is time to go home. Kei then goes to his father, and says excitedly that something happened today for the first time, but before he can continue, his father interrupts him, apologizing and saying that he is tired, and that they will talk later. Kei quietly responds, saying okay and apologizing. The next day, Kei's father pats him on the head, and tells him to be a good boy before leaving. Kei replies with an okay, Dad, and heads to school. When he arrives, he sees Mayumi playing with her friends. Mayumi notices him and calls out cheerfully, greeting him with a bright morning, Kei-kun. The other children nearby whisper among themselves, questioning if it is really okay, and wondering what is going on. They mention that the kids Mayumi was playing with earlier went off somewhere. Mayumi dismisses their concern, saying that it does not matter and telling them to forget it. She then turns her attention back to Kei and says that today they will finish what they started, declaring confidently that this time she is going to win. They both then go outside, and Kawahara confidently agrees, saying, yeah, Mayumi, feeling happy, says that she is not alone anymore. Kawahara responds, hoping that it stays like that forever. The scene then shifts to nighttime, where Kei is thinking to himself that his dad is late and wondering if work is keeping him. Suddenly, someone calls out to him. It is not his father but someone else. The person apologizes for being late and says that he came to get him. Kei, confused, asks who the man is. The man laughs and explains that they have never met, introducing himself as Kei's grandfather, his father's father. Kei thinks to himself, "Grandpa," and the man confirms it, saying that he had not heard from Kei's father since he left, and that the next thing he learnt was that Kei's father was gone. Calling him a fool, the grandfather adds that Kei's father asked him to look after his son. From that day onwards, he tells Kei that he will be part of the Kawahara family. The scene then shifts again to Mayumi, who asks Kei if he is moving, and why. Kei replies that he does not know. She asks him when, and he tells her that it is happening today right now. Crying, he tries to say something, but Mayumi stops him and tells him to wait. She runs off and returns with a strap in her hand. She gives it to him, saying to take it. The strap has the word friend written on it. Kawahara looks at the strap and thinks to himself, a friend? Mayumi tells him that they should play again sometime. With tears in his eyes, Kawahara agrees. Many years later, Kawahara is in high school. While looking out the window, he sees Mayumi. Surprised, he rushes to her and calls out, "Mayumi-chan." Mayumi, with a sharp and intimidating gaze, confirms that she is indeed Mayumi and then asks who he is. Both of them then return to the present. Mayumi asks Kawahara about the thing he said earlier, but Kawahara replies that it is a secret. Mayumi protests, asking why, but he simply tells her to eat her crepe, calling her Yomi. Kawahara thinks to himself that even if she does not remember, it is fine since they are together again, just like before. Later, at her home, Mayumi holds the strap in her hand, thinking about the word friends. She thanks him in her thoughts and promises that this time she will keep it safe for sure. Kawahara has already attached his strap to his bag. On the other side, Kawahara returns home, greeting his assistant with an "I'm home." His assistant welcomes him back and offers to take his bag. Kawahara thanks him. The assistant then notices the strap and says that it was attached to his house key, reminding him that he once said it was important. Kei confirms that it is indeed important and explains that it is a new one, a gift from a friend. Both Kei and Mayumi are then shown holding their straps. Kei points out that the expressions on the straps are different, and his assistant agrees, saying that he is right. Then the scene shifted, and Kawahara was seen dragging a shampoo bottle while saying that it was just the normal kind you could find anywhere. Kawahara was in a shop answering questions that Guillaume was asking. Guillaume first asked what shampoo Kawahara used. Guillaume then asked about Kawahara's conditioner, and Kawahara answered that the conditioner was already mixed in with the shampoo. Guillaume asked about Kawahara's body wash next, and Kawahara replied that Kawahara just used a bar of soap. Guillaume then asked about Kawahara's hairbrush, and Kawahara answered that Kawahara just used Kawahara's fingers. Guillaume screamed and pointed out that all of those choices were extremely plain. Kawahara responded that of course they were and asked why that was a problem. Guillaume explained that Guillaume had thought going shopping together might help Guillaume choose products, but this was not what Guillaume had imagined. Kawahara asked what Guillaume had imagined. A scene then appeared in Guillaume's mind of Kawahara showering, while Guillaume imagined something cute for the shampoo, something cute for the face wash, and something cute for the body soap as well. Guillaume thought that everything Kawahara owned could be cute. Kawahara reacted by questioning what kind of imagination that was. Guillaume admitted that Guillaume had figured that if Guillaume used the same things as Kawahara, maybe Guillaume would look a little cuter too, but Guillaume had not expected it to turn out like this. Kawahara apologized and explained that these were simply the things Kawahara normally used. Guillaume responded that it was not Kawahara's fault and then asked whether Kawahara had gotten everything needed. Kawahara said that there was just one more thing and then pointed out a knife sharpener after finding it. Guillaume thought to herself that being good at cooking was kind of cute and imagined Kawahara cooking. Guillaume continued thinking that if Kawahara could make sweets on top of that, it would already be impressive. Guillaume then wrote something in a notebook while saying that Guillaume would do it for Kawahara, and Kawahara responded that it was fine. They both moved on, and Guillaume looked at what Kawahara had bought in a plastic bag before commenting that Kawahara really did not have a clue about being cute. Kawahara replied that Kawahara was a guy after all, and that guys' things were usually like that. Guillaume acknowledged this and concluded that being cute did not really depend on the things or products themselves. Kawahara asked whether Guillaume had said something, and then Kawahara admitted that Kawahara had always wanted to ask what Guillaume's idea of cute was. Guillaume became confused after being asked directly and found it hard to answer. Kawahara observed that Guillaume was overloaded, as if smoke were coming out. Guillaume finally said that cute was such a complicated concept and that it might be one of humanity's eternal mysteries. Kawahara reacted by saying that it was quite a thought. Then they arrived at a shop, and Kawahara remarked that people often said cosmetics were cute as well. Guillaume did not respond at first, but suddenly screamed in amazement. Kawahara asked what was wrong, and Guillaume explained that it was too bright and that the cosmetics section had a cute level that was far too high. Kawahara questioned what a cute level even was. Guillaume described the place as holy ground for cute girls, filled with rows upon rows of trendy products, and admitted that it was so cute that Guillaume felt unable to walk in alone. Kawahara said that Kawahara understood, then took Guillaume's hand and told Guillaume that they would go in together and that everything would be fine because they were entering together. They both went inside the shop, where Guillaume tried many cosmetic products. Guillaume excitedly pointed out a lip gloss shaped like an ice cream, and Kawahara agreed after looking at it. Guillaume commented that everywhere Guillaume looked, there was cute stuff and that Guillaume wanted everything. Kawahara asked whether Kawahara should grab a basket, but Guillaume refused, saying there was no way Guillaume was buying all of it, though maybe just one thing. Guillaume then noticed a booth with a sign that read "Create your own cute lipstick." Guillaume repeated the words in Guillaume's mind and began thinking that creating a lipstick might also mean creating Guillaume's own cuteness. Kawahara asked if that was the one Guillaume wanted and noted that it was a lipstick. Guillaume said it looked popular and mentioned that some people said cuteness depended on lips. Kawahara suggested that if Guillaume was curious, Guillaume should try it. Guillaume hesitated, feeling that trying to make Guillaume cute all of a sudden was a big step. Kawahara encouraged Guillaume to think of it as training, and told Guillaume to pick a color Guillaume liked. Guillaume gained confidence and chose a color, then asked how it looked. Kawahara's eyes lit up as Kawahara said it suited Guillaume, while Guillaume's expression looked terrifying. Kawahara added that the bright red color was like fresh blood. Guillaume screamed in protest, questioning what Kawahara meant by fresh blood and pointing out that the label said cherry red and that it was the exact color used by the model. Guillaume wondered why it did not look the same. Kawahara replied that it still looked good enough. Guillaume turned toward Kawahara, but Kawahara quickly took a picture and apologized, saying Guillaume had looked good and Kawahara could not help it. Guillaume then commented that the color might be too strong for Kawahara's snake eyes and suggested another color instead. Kawahara picked up a different shade and asked Guillaume to try it. Guillaume hesitated again, saying it was too bright, but Kawahara reassured Guillaume and confidently insisted it would be fine. They both looked into the mirror, and Kawahara pointed out that Guillaume's face looked brighter with that color. Guillaume agreed with Kawahara and honestly admitted that Kawahara was amazing, even wondering whether Kawahara was some kind of color specialist. Kawahara laughed it off and said that it was nothing special and that Kawahara had simply picked the shade that Kawahara thought would look best on Guillaume. Guillaume, looking surprised, thought to herself about the color being the one that suited Guillaume. Guillaume then screamed in excitement and declared that Guillaume would buy that one. After that, they both went home. Guillaume arrived at Guillaume's house and announced that Guillaume was back. Inside, Guillaume tried the new lipstick, while thinking that Guillaume could not believe Guillaume had ended up choosing such a bright color. Guillaume applied the lipstick, then giggled to herself while saying that it was such a cute shade. Then Yume was shown saying to herself that Yume had done it, that Yume had really done it, and that Yume had worn the lip tint and actually come to school wearing it. Yume thought that it felt a little delinquent and wondered what would happen if the girls noticed and started talking about it, admitting that Yume was strangely excited. The scene then shifted to Yume inside the classroom, sitting down and opening Yume's lunchbox, while thinking that no one had even noticed. Yume realized that not only had no one noticed, but hardly anyone had even met Yume's eyes. Yume then left the classroom and walked through the corridors toward the outside, thinking that of course no one would notice such a tiny change. Yume accepted that and told herself that it was fine, because what mattered was not the outside but the inside. Two girls looked at Yume and walked away, saying they should go somewhere else, and the other girl agreed. Yume thought to herself that Yume should probably start by practicing Yume's smile first, and that next Yume would pick someone. Yume remembered that Kawahara-kun smiled a lot during their training and thought that if Yume could do that someday, Yume definitely could change. Suddenly, Kawahara appeared behind Yume and asked whether Yume had called him. Yume looked at Kawahara in surprise. Kawahara stood behind Yume, and Guillaume asked why Kawahara was even there. Kawahara explained that Kawahara had been on the way to buy lunch, had seen Guillaume's bag from a distance, and had come over, also noting that Guillaume always seemed to eat there. Guillaume replied that Guillaume liked that place and asked whether Kawahara ate at the cafeteria. Kawahara answered that Kawahara did not and usually just bought bread from the shop. Guillaume then thought to herself that even the lipstick had gone unnoticed, and that just being able to talk to someone normally like this already felt like progress. Guillaume then told Kawahara seriously that Guillaume had already said not to talk to Guillaume at school and warned Kawahara that the bread would sell out before saying goodbye and pushing Kawahara away. Kawahara responded that Kawahara understood and was leaving, but added that the color really suited Guillaume. After Kawahara left, Guillaume stood there stunned and thought to herself that Kawahara had noticed and that Kawahara had actually noticed. Then the scene shifted, and Kawahara was shown standing in an alleyway while it was raining, with Kawahara's assistant lending Kawahara an umbrella. Kawahara noticed a man who had finished beating up several people and remarked that the man had really gone all out. The man replied by calling Kawahara young master and explained that these were the ones who had been snooping around their turf lately, apparently hired thugs from the west side, but that they had not spilled anything about what they were after. Kawahara responded that Kawahara understood but pointed out that it was still a bit much, noting that there was a whole pool of blood. The man quickly denied responsibility and said it was because of the sharpener Kawahara had bought the day before, claiming that the thing cut far too cleanly. Kawahara reacted by saying that was unexpected and apologized casually. Kawahara's assistant then told Kawahara that they should head back or they would catch a chill. Kawahara agreed. Kawahara then looked at the body lying there and thought about the color, noting that it should fit, but that when Yume-san wore a color like that, it had looked beautiful. Kawahara considered that it might have been because it was makeup, but then decided that it was not just that. Kawahara wondered if that was what cute really meant, reflected on the idea of cute, and concluded that Yume-san was already plenty cute. The scene then cut to Yume at Yume's house, where Yume reacted in confusion upon realizing that rough chop did not mean cutting roughly like a disaster. Yume cried out in pain after cutting a finger again and complained to herself in frustration. Then, on another day, Kawahara was seen standing behind Yume and suggesting that it might be time to give up there. Yume refused and told Kawahara not to stop Yume, saying that Yume had come too far to back down. Yume grabbed something from Yume's purse and declared that this time, Yume would land the final blow. Yume was playing a game at a booth, and the booth announced that Yume had won the prize. Both Kawahara and Yume became happy. Yume said that Yume had finally gotten it and that even a first-timer could win, adding that it had taken Kawahara a dozen tries, while Yume had managed to get it immediately. Yume looked at the plushie and commented that it was cute, thinking that if Yume clipped it on, Yume might look a little cuter too. Yume then doubted whether Yume was really a girl worthy of such a cute item, and felt that the plushie's eyes almost looked sad, as if it wanted a truly cute person to wear it. Yume then looked at Kawahara and told Kawahara to try it on. Yume clipped it onto Kawahara's head, and Kawahara protested that it would not suit Kawahara anyway. Guillaume thought to herself that it actually suited Kawahara ridiculously well. Guillaume then told Kawahara that Guillaume was giving it to Kawahara. The scene shifted as Guillaume suggested that they look around a bit more. Kawahara suddenly said that Kawahara wanted to try once as well. Guillaume questioned why the same price would at least get a different one, then realized that Kawahara had already started. Guillaume thought that there was no way Kawahara would get it in one try, but was shocked when Kawahara actually won in a single attempt. Guillaume thought to herself that Kawahara had snagged in one try what had taken Guillaume dozens. Kawahara then said that this one was for Guillaume and gently clipped it onto Guillaume's hair. Guillaume screamed in refusal, saying that Guillaume was fine and that it would not suit Guillaume anyway, which was why Guillaume had given the first one to Kawahara. Kawahara then suggested that Kawahara would feel shy wearing it alone and asked Guillaume to wear Guillaume's with Kawahara. Guillaume finally gave in, saying that Kawahara had won and agreed to keep it, while feeling very happy on the inside. Yume commented that arcades really had a bit of everything and admitted that it was actually Yume's first time playing properly. Kawahara responded that it was surprising because Yume seemed very into it, adding that Kawahara had assumed Yume came there often and that Kawahara thought girls visited arcades quite frequently. Yume replied that Yume had been there a fair amount and then thought back to Yume's Yankee days, remembering how Yume had used arcades as a hangout spot all the time. Yume then pointed out that Kawahara was the one who did not look like a first-timer. Kawahara remarked that Yum had nabbed the prize in one shot and explained that after reading the clause, the angle, and the prize date, Kawahara had simply calculated the angle so it would catch. It was then mentioned that Kawahara was a top 10 scorer in the grade midterm. Yume acknowledged this and said that Yume understood. It was then mentioned again that one prize had taken dozens of tries, followed by the note that the scorer was in the bottom 10 of the grade midterm. Yumi thought to herself that Yumi had so much to learn from Kawahara. Suddenly, they heard someone scream, and both of them looked over and saw a booth full of zombies. Guillaume immediately rejected it, saying it was a horror game and that zombies were not cute. Nearby, a girl was heard saying that the zombies were scary and that she could not beat them all at once. Guillaume commented that this reaction itself was cute, and Kawahara agreed. They then decided to play the game together. Guillaume went first and commented that brutal weapons seemed to enhance cuteness, comparing it to sprinkling salt on watermelon. Guillaume then shouted directions as the game started. Kawahara said that Kawahara had to play too and wondered whether Kawahara could even handle it, admitting that games like this were Kawahara's first time. They both held the guns and started playing. Guillaume was too scared to look at the screen and kept Guillaume's eyes closed, while Kawahara stayed completely focused and kept shooting. Guillaume asked nervously whether it was over yet, and then thought to herself that Guillaume had been far too terrified to even think about cuteness. Kawahara, meanwhile, thought to himself that Guillaume's shots had all missed. Afterward, they looked around, and Kawahara noticed that a crowd had gathered, pointing out that Guillaume had been screaming at the top of Guillaume's lungs. Yume reacted in disbelief and then noticed two girls from Yume's class. Yume suddenly thought about girls wearing the same uniform and imagined rumors starting in the next loop, which made Yume panic. They both ran out of the area. Kawahara asked what was wrong and joked about whether it was a sudden stomach ache. Yume explained that the girls were from their school and worried that if they were recognized, rumors would twist the situation and spread everywhere. Yume added that girls truly believed in rumors. Kawahara agreed that rumors were scary, and Yume emphasized that they needed to move carefully. Kawahara accepted this with a light-hearted response.